Right then guys, how's it going and welcome back to your football predictions, the series where you guys go up against me to see who can get the most correct predictions for the upcoming weekend of Premier League football. We are a bit early this week, the international break is still going on. England actually play tonight, but I thought, you know what, let's get in there early, get these predictions done for the weekend. Those were my predictions from the last weekend of Premier League football. It was another tough weekend for predictions. We had West Ham beating Liverpool, Liverpool's first loss of the Premier League season. We had Burnley pulling off a 1-1 draw against league leaders Chelsea. And we also had, Man City beating Manchester United at the weekend. So I didn't do too great. I got one correct score, and that was that Southampton would beat Aston Villa 1-0. As always, loads of you guys got involved, so thank you to everyone who got your predictions in on the last video. I think we had over 200 predictions, so I've had a fun weekend going through them. Remember to get your predictions down below for this weekend's week of Premier League football. As for who won last week's video, we had loads of people who got 2 correct scores, but just 3 people got 3 correct scores, and they were Ballum, Liam and Geordie. So well done to you 3. As I say, there was over 200 predictions, and you were the only guys to get 3 correct scores. So as I say, if you want to be shouted out in my next video, be sure to get your predictions down below for this weekend's Premier League games. And I'd also like to take a quick minute to thank my channel members. If you haven't already and you're interested, you can pay a small fee to help support the channel and become a member. We had 2 new members over the weekend, Graham and Elliot. So thank you to you guys. I am trying to post a little bit of extra content over on the membership channel as well, so be sure to hit the join button if you're interested. But as always, let's get on to the predictions for this weekend. Right then, so to start things off on Saturday at 12:30, we have got Leicester taking on Chelsea. Chelsea, league leaders, having a cracking season, but they did draw 1-1 against Burnley, which I think probably surprised a few people. It certainly surprised me. Taking on a Leicester side who are currently sitting in 12th place. Have been a bit up and down so far this season. Haven't been able to really hold any form for past a game really. The odd win, the odd draw. And they drew against Leeds at the weekend. So both teams drew at the weekend. Will Lukaku be back for Chelsea this weekend? It's very possible. I've gone 2-0 Chelsea. Just Leicester haven't quite been doing it this season. I think they're about 7 points off 4th place right now. And no doubt Leicester will still be hoping to try and at least get Europe, if not Champions League. So we'll have to watch the space on that. Moving on to the Saturday 3 o'clock fixtures. First up, we have got Villa taking on Brighton. Now, Villa are sitting in 16th place, just outside of the relegation zone. They lost against Southampton. I think it was the Friday night, wasn't it? It wasn't the weekend. They lost against Southampton 1-0. That made it their 5th loss in a row, and they are trying to fix that now after bringing Steven Gerrard in as the new manager over the international break. So he is going to have his work cut out, taking on his first game against a Brighton side who drew 1-1 against Newcastle at the weekend, but ultimately have had a very good season so far, currently sitting in 7th place. Although it has been a fantastic start of the season, sitting in 7th, in the last 5 games they have drawn 4 and lost 1. So they are still picking up those points with the draws, but they haven't won a game in a little while in the Premier League. So I think this one could genuinely be pretty interesting. I mean, Villa are at home, new manager bounce. I've backed them 1-0. Again, as I say, Brighton have done very well this season, but yeah, let me know what you think down below. Moving on to Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Burnley still sitting in the relegation zone in 18th place, despite a bit of an upturn in form. We saw them beat Brentford the other week, which was their first win of the season, then followed up by a 1-1 draw with league leaders Chelsea. I mean, that's 2 very good games for them in a row there. Taking on a Crystal Palace side who have also had a very good upturn in form. Not to say that they haven't already been very decent this season. Indeed, they have won their last 2 games. The last game the other week was against Man City 2-0, and then they've now beaten Wolves at the weekend 2-0. So can they go to Burnley away and win 2-0 again? I've been pretty boring here, and I've gone 1-1. I can see a draw here. I think Burnley have been playing a little bit better, fresh from the international break as well, so back that at a draw. Moving on to Newcastle taking on Brentford. Newcastle sitting in 19th place. Still the only team to win this season. Did draw 1-1 with Brighton before the break, which, in honesty, I think was a decent draw. As I say, although Brighton haven't won too many recently, they have still been very good this season. So for Newcastle to go all the way down there, the longest away trip available, and to pick up a point, I think it's not too bad. And again, another side who are trying to fix their fortunes. We obviously saw Bruce leave. Graham Jones took over as caretaker manager, and now it's Eddie Howe who has stepped into the hot seat for Newcastle United, hoping to get their first win of the season against Brentford. Brentford currently sitting in 14th place. Ultimately, for a promoted team, I think everyone was very excited about what they've done so far this season. Form recently, however, hasn't been too good. You look at the fact that Burnley beat them 2 weeks ago to get Burnley's first win of the season. Norwich, their first win of the season. Can Newcastle please beat Brentford as well? Is Brentford just going around giving everyone their first win? I hope so, because I could really do with Newcastle getting 3 points. And I have backed Newcastle. I've gone 2-1. I think I actually said 3-1 in my podcast the other week. And I do think it'll be tough, and Newcastle don't like to do things easy, but first game, back at St James's Park, Eddie Howe in charge, Wilson fit, that's a big difference to have a striker who's actually available. So yeah, I'm back at Newcastle and I'm hoping for the best. Moving on to Norwich taking on Southampton. So Norwich, as I say, did get their first win of the season before the break when they beat Brentford. They are, however, still sat in last place, although it is joint points with Newcastle, so they are trying to get their way out of there. And it's another team we saw who are trying to change their fortunes as well, because they sacked Daniel Farke over the international break, and they have brought in the Aston Villa. So Dean Smith got sacked from Aston Villa and Gerrard replaced him. Norwich sacked Daniel Farke and then replaced him with Dean Smith straight from Villa. So, if you're a Villa fan, if you're a Villa fan, let me know what you think about Stevie G. If you're a Norwich fan, let me know what you think of the appointment of your new manager as well. Again, Villa hadn't won a game and had lost the last 5 games in a row, so to put him in charge. But again, I think that the big thing here is like a fresh start, new manager bounce. I think that definitely exists. And time, as much as we are not even just coming up to a third of the way into the season, you have to change things quick if it's not going well. So we'll have to see what he can do there. Again, taking on a Southampton side who did win their game at the weekend, as I say, against Aston Villa. Last 4 games, Southampton have won 3 and drawn 1, so they have definitely picked up form. And I have backed them to win 1-0. I've kind of said, why Norwich can come back with a bounce with Dean Smith, but again, Southampton have been looking a lot better. It's a tough one there. Norwich haven't been good, let's be honest. They did beat Brentford, but it seems like everyone is, except Newcastle, but hopefully they will this weekend. So it's a tough one to say there, and it could go either way, so I'll back Southampton. And as a Newcastle fan, I hope it is Southampton, really, because I want Norwich to stay down. Moving on. Watford taking on Manchester United. So I've just spoken about 2 teams who have kind of fixed their form a little bit. Watford and Manchester United isn't going so good. And the fact is, Watford are in 17th. Manchester United are sat in 6th. But have both got almost identical form. In the last 4 games, both have lost 3 and won 1. Watford lost against Arsenal at the weekend. Manchester United lost against Man City at the weekend in the derby. So, both had tough games at the weekend. Both lost. Both on the same poor form, but with 11 places in the league between them. The Ole Gunnar Solskjaer conversation is never ending. Watford are another team, in fairness, who actually changed their manager as well. I think all of the bottom 5 teams have all changed their manager already into the season to try and fix things. Although Watford, to be fair, weren't doing too bad, were they, when they swapped their manager? But anyway, I've got 3-1 Manchester United. Let me know what you think about that one down below. Moving on to the final 3 o'clock kickoff, we have got Wolves taking on West Ham. Wolves sitting in 8th, West Ham sitting in 3rd. As I say, and going from Watford and Manchester United, who are two teams who are on bad recent form, these two teams are on very good form. Wolves last 5, lost 1, drawn 1, won 3. West Ham last 5 have lost 1 and won 4. Again, including the game against Liverpool. A very exciting game, that one. 3-2 win. And again, the Wolves, despite their better form, did lose their game at the weekend against Crystal Palace. I went West Ham 2-1. I know the Wolves fan got on me because I said they were going to lose last week as well, but they did, so I wasn't wrong. And I'm going to have to back them to lose here. I think West Ham beating Liverpool is a fantastic result from them. They are really going for it this season. And Wolves are at home, and maybe they can pull something out, but I think West Ham is the obvious prediction to go for. But again, if Wolves prove me wrong, then good for them. Moving on to the 5:30 kickoff on Saturday now, we have got Liverpool taking on Arsenal. So again, Liverpool are in 4th place now, dropped a spot after West Ham beat them and overtook them into 3rd. Taking on an Arsenal side. And I believe if Arsenal beat Liverpool, they can jump them now as well. So we could see Liverpool in 5th and Arsenal in 4th if they are to go on and win this game. Arsenal undefeated in the last 8 Premier League games. Which isn't too bad, is it, really? But again, Liverpool have only lost once, and that was at the weekend. So Liverpool are at home. I just think that although Arsenal, again, are undefeated for the last 8 games in the Premier League, which is not bad going at all, considering the start they had. I think they lost the first 3 games, so that's 11 played, lost the first 3, undefeated in the last 8. 1-0 win over Watford at the weekend. I just think Liverpool, I know they lost against West Ham, but they are such a good side with Salah, and they can just win out of anywhere, And although Arsenal definitely have improved this season, I would still say Liverpool will be the favourite. You think? So I've gone 2-1 Liverpool. Again, it's a tough one, So let me know what you think down below. Moving on to the Sunday now, 2 o'clock kickoff, we have got Manchester City taking on Everton. Man City are sitting in 2nd place. I already mentioned it. They got a good win before the international break when they beat Manchester United. I mean, I actually went to the pub to watch that game, and it was boring, to be honest. Man City are really good, but they're not particularly exciting. I wanted to see 2 teams absolutely going for it. Man City just kept the ball, which is fine. You want points, and ultimately winning the game is the most important thing. But as a neutral sat in the pub for that game, it wasn't particularly exciting. But I think what I would call it was just a professional win. It was very calculated. It was very tactical. They had all the ball, and no doubt the fans will be happy about it. Taking on Everton side, who are sitting in 11th place. Last 5 games have not been kind to them. I think they've drawn 2 and lost 3. Although they did draw, and they drew 1-1 against Spurs in their last game, Premier League game. Which I think ultimately I would say is a good draw. I mean, obviously they've got Conte in. Rafa obviously made his start with Everton at the start of the season, and by all means looked quite good at the start of the season. Had Townsend in my team. I'm actually think I'm going to take him out now because things just don't seem to be quite going as well as they were about a month ago. I've backed Man City 2-0. Again, if it's on telly, maybe I'll give it a watch, but I don't see it being that exciting. Maybe that'll jinx it and it'll be really exciting, but we'll have to wait and see. And moving on to the final game of the weekend, 4:30 kickoff on Sky. We have got Spurs taking on Leeds. So I mentioned it, Spurs drew their game 0-0 against Everton before the break. Conte not quite getting off to the start. that he probably wanted as Spurs manager. I mean, it probably will take a few games for him to really imprint himself on that side. And Harry Kane's a funny one. We're talking about the international break. England are playing tonight. Could very well see Harry Kane feature again. He obviously featured in our last game over the break and got himself a few goals. So, it goes back to that question, is he not happy at Spurs? Is that why he's not playing well? Again, form is temporary, class is permanent, as they're saying. I think Harry Kane is a very good player, and maybe Conte can get him back round on side and really going for it. Obviously, the whole Man City link, I think, has kind of taken it out of him a little bit, in a way to put it. So we'll have to see what Conte can do. And I mean, if you can, I know England weren't exactly playing the best team the other night, but still getting in positions and scoring goals, that's what Conte will want to see. Taking on Leeds side, who are sitting in 15th place, and again, by all means, haven't had the greatest start of the season, but they're picking the points up where they can, and a draw against Leicester in their last game, which again, Leicester haven't been great this season, but I would say that's a very good point for Leeds. And that is it. Oh, hang on, what did I predict? I predicted Spurs to win 2-1. Maybe Harry Kane can come back and grab himself a goal. So those are my predictions for the upcoming weekend of Premier League football. Be sure to get your predictions down in the comments below. As I say, I will go through all of them before the first game kicks off, which is Saturday at 12:30. So Saturday, 12:20. I will make a note of all of your predictions and I will shout out the winner in my predictions video next week. Thank you all for watching. As always, if you are still watching 16 minutes later and you are yet to subscribe, then please hit that button. I know loads of you guys watch the predictions, put your predictions in the comments, but still haven't subscribed. And if you could, it would make a huge difference to the channel. And as I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in becoming a channel member, please take a look at that as well. If you click the button, there is a little video that I did explaining a little bit more about it. But as always, comments down below with your predictions, subscribe if you're new, like the video, and I will be making more videos this week, and I am at the Brentford game this weekend, so if you like the vlogs, look out for that on Saturday night. Alright guys, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you later.